the best of money matters. Under the radar.
You're listening to Money FM 89.3 and it's now time for Under the Radar with me, Chua Tian Tian. Now, have you ever tried longkang fishing or catching fish in canals or drains as a child? Now, if you have, you might just be familiar with the company that we are talking about today, Qian Hu Fish Farm. After all, Qian Hu's longkang fishing experience remains a core memory of many born in the 1990s. Now, with its beginnings as a humble fish farm in 1988, Qian Hu now looks at aquatic and pet care solutions with a global footprint in 80 cities and countries. Now, the company prides itself on its expertise in ornamental fish breeding, aquaculture, and pet accessories, with a focus on innovation and technology. At its ornamental fish trading division, Qian Hu Fish Farm Trading, the firm farms, imports, exports, and distributes fish with direct exports to Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia. And the number of species and varieties exported, well over 1,000 of them. Now, the industry that Qian Hu lies in is an interesting one to talk about, given Singapore's status as one of the world's top exporters of ornamental fish. But despite this position, the market remains niche, with Singapore's export value standing at about $35 million back in 2022. So, who are the players within the industry, and what can ornamental fish exporters like Qian Hu do to improve its output and position for future growth in land-scarce Singapore? And should they also diversify beyond ornamental fish? Well, speaking of which, Qian Hu had in 2017 established an aquaculture division in the Chinese province of Hainan to farm antibiotic-free edible fish. The division has since expanded to look at farming marbled goby and vaname shrimp in Singapore. But how has the firm's strategic expansion into aquaculture helped it position for future growth? Well, lots of questions, and joining me right here in the studio is Yap Kok Ching, Executive Chairman and Chief Executive Officer at Qian Hu. Kok Ching, welcome.
Hello, hi everyone.
Great to have you join us. And, Kok Ching, we've briefly talked about Qian Hu as a company focusing on aquatic and pet care solutions with a global footprint in 80 cities and countries. But people in Singapore, they would fondly remember of Qian Hu's beginnings as a humble fish farm. Those older might recall how it started out by converting old pig pens into concrete ponds for guppy breeding. So take us through the evolution of Qian Hu's business over the years, and also fast forward to today. What is the company's value proposition and business model?
Qian Hu began in the 80s when my family converted the pig pens into guppies breeding ponds. So from that small farm, we have grown into a global leader, exporting ornamental fish to over 80 countries. Over the years, we have expanded into high-value arowanas, pet accessories, aquaculture, and packing solutions. Today, Qian Hu operates in an integrated ecosystem, from breeding and farming of fishes, manufacturing pet products, and producing plastic packaging. Our competitive advantage lies in the innovation and sustainability, ensuring high-quality ornamental fish, pet care products, and sustainable aquaculture solutions.
When I was younger, Kok Ching, my parents used to take me and my younger brother to Qian Hu for the longkang fishing and to farm mud to feed was it the goats or the horses at farm mud? I can't remember.
Yeah, some of the animals there, but farm mud was closed many years ago.
Do you still have the longkang fishing?
Yes, we keep that agro education area within our farm, and we are constantly upgrading it. Reason being is that we hope to cultivate the young to have a passion of fish. And one year we actually took in about 300 tours, visits to Qian Hu Fish Farm every year.
Well, I remember going home with the very small, a small fish tank with a lot of the longkang fish inside. But, Kok Ching, let's talk about your business verticals. Yep. I understand that Qian Hu's business can be split into one, which is your Qian Hu Fish Farm, which farms, import and exports, distributes fish to over 80 countries. Yep. You have the second vertical, which is Qian Hu Arowana, which looks at Asian arowana. You have the third one, which is called Qian Hu Tatling Plastic, which looks at packaging. Yep. Now, the fourth vertical is your Qian Hu Fish Farm Trading, looks at aquarium and pet accessories. And the last one is Qian Hu Aquaculture Seafood, established in January 2017 in Hainan to look at farming edible fish. Take us through the various verticals and which is the most important one when it boils down to dollars and cents on your balance sheet.
Okay, so we used to operate in 5 key verticals. The ornamental fish, which is our core business in breeding, importing, exporting, and distributing fish from Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, and China. The second one, which is the arowana, which is specializes in breeding and trading of the premium arowanas. We have since merged these 2 verticals together. Ever since last 2023, we have taken a strategic decision to scale down on the arowana breeding program. So it makes a lot of sense to group the 2 verticals together. The other one is the Thailand Plastics, which produce plastic packaging for both our internal use and external customers. We focus a lot on the hygiene packaging for food industry as well. Our pet accessories division covering the aquarium accessories and pet accessories, pet supplies. And lastly, the aquaculture, which we grow sustainable seafood in Singapore, Malaysia, China, and Thailand. So for earning contribution, ornamental fish and pet accessories are our largest revenue drivers, but aquaculture and pet accessories are poised to be the biggest growth engine for the future.
Any ballpark figure in terms of revenue contribution at this point for ornamental fish versus your aquaculture?
Aquaculture is around 6%. And we do have about 80% from the ornamental fish and the pet accessories.
So any targeted, earning contributions proportion from aquaculture in the near term?
I would think that the contribution for the pet accessories and aquaculture will be bigger than the ornamental fish because of the sheer size of the market.
Okay.
Yeah, but we are comparing something that we have built over the 30 years, which is the ornamental fish.
New.
So it will take time for us to build. We are developing it in a very innovative way. Innovative products as well.
Okay, we'll double down on that conversation in just a bit. But let's zoom in on your global footprint, Kok Ching, because Qian Hu said in its 2024 annual report that 44% of group revenue is contributed by Asia, 36% of group revenue comes from Singapore. But as we know, your products are exported to 80 countries as far as India, Japan, South Korea, Germany, US, UK. Take us through your global footprint and which are the most important markets for the firm financially?
Okay, Asia accounts for 44% of our revenue and Singapore 36%. So you know that actually the stronghold for us is Asia. We have subsidiaries in China, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. So those are the major areas that we are strong at. Of course, we are exporting to Europe and US, so particularly, in UK and Germany, we are seeing growth in all this area. And then for US, it's an emerging market for us. For ornamental fish, US is the biggest market in the world, followed by China and things like that. So, but for us, US is a new market, not the biggest market for us, but it's a growing market for us for ornamental fish. Yep.
When did you start exporting to the US? And for countries like US and Germany, which hub does it go through? Because I understand it's not direct export.
It's direct export now.
Oh, okay.
It's direct export now.
Okay.
Yeah, Singapore is according to US data, should be the biggest exporters to US.
Okay.
I think it's about 15% of US import in 2023.
Now, Kok Ching, we mentioned earlier that ornamental fish farming industry, that industry that Qian Hu lies in, is an interesting one to talk about because, as you mentioned, Singapore is one of the world's top exporters of ornamental fish. But the export value stands at about $35 million USD back in 2022. So a very niche market. So some questions over here. Who are the players in the industry exactly? How fragmented is the ornamental fish farming industry?
Well, it's a pity that in Singapore we used to be the number one in the world for exporting
Who is
ornamental.
Number one right now?
Indonesia is number one right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So the value actually dropped from over 60 over million down to 35 US now. In 2023, we still see numbers at about 35. So the drop actually smoothened. So the market is actually highly fragmented and comprises of many family-run businesses and large integrated players like Qian Hu. Scattered around, because some of them are exporters, some of them are local distributors. But as integrated as one where we have accessories, we have local, we have exports, we are one of the very few.
So when we look at the industry, right, the value dropping from, as you mentioned, 60 million to 35 million USD, is that a supply issue that there are just not as many farmers for fish breeding as before, or is that the issue of demand?
Pretty much the competitiveness in Singapore. Yeah, for our company, we actually recorded growth, but the industry dropped.
Okay.
Yeah, so I believe that we are doing something correct. And as for the company, in terms of our strategy, we actually have export centers from Thailand, Indonesia, and China and Malaysia. So those are the big exporting countries that, I think about 60% of the world exports of ornamental fish are from Asian country. Yeah, so we are in a good position for us to actually capture the growth in terms of the markets.
That actually brings us to the next question, which is your positioning strategy against your peers and the market share that you command right now. Would you say your advantage is your supply chain network then?
Okay, other than the supply chain network, our key strategies involve the quality and also the biosecurity. So we have very stringent breeding protocol and standards to have 5% of DOA within our group. We have export standard of less than 3% of our DOA. So across the group, we have promised to our customers in terms of the health of the fish. Of course, we also have programs that work with our supplier, so there's a traceability in terms of the product quality that comes from our suppliers. And also we have IoT monitoring. We also invest in RAS system. So all these innovations and sustainable aquaculture solutions are those things that actually help us in terms of the competitive edge.
DOA means dead on arrival, and RAS means recirculating aquaculture systems. Well, let's take a look at where things are at for Qian Hu right now at Kok Ching. Qian Hu had reported revenue of 71.4 million Sing dollars in 2024, up from 70.3 million Sing dollars in 2023. Now, if we look at net profit attributable to owners of the company, or what we call the PATMI, it stood at 0.4 million Sing dollars versus a loss of 9.3 million Sing dollars in 2023. How would you assess the firm's latest performance, and what were the actions taken that had allowed it to reverse the earlier loss that we saw?
Actually, in 2023, we did a one-time write-off of arowana, as I have mentioned just now regarding the strategic change. So we have decided to scale down on the arowana. So there's a big write-off of 7.4 million in the arowana brooded stock. We kept those very high-value one, where we're still producing. And then we also wrote off 1.5 million on pet accessories, which we deem they are, old, slow-moving and things like that. So the company actually take a very prudent approach in terms of cleaning up the balance sheets. Yeah, and you can see that after if you look at the numbers, we are profitable. Aquaculture is now contributing to the profit as well, and also the operation streamlining of the operations helps in terms of cost saving and the cost optimization.
You've talked about the scaling down of arowana business quite a number of times. If I could follow up on that, what were the reasons behind the scaling down of the arowana business? Has that got to do with the cost of breeding and the risk that you have to undertake when it comes down to survivability as well?
We constantly review our business in terms of the contribution, the ROI, ROA, and things like that. Yeah, and looking at the dynamics where arowana used to cost few thousands, even 10 of thousands each. And it makes a lot of sense for us to grow them for 4 or 5 years and then for them to reproduce and things like that. So looking at the cost, looking at the price right now, it doesn't make any sense for us to actually continue to grow the low-value fish. And we know that more than, I think, 20% of our land in Singapore farm is being used for arowana farming. Yeah, so we better make good use to that farming area.
So your aquaculture, like the fish that's eaten at banquet halls, those are more valuable?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Now, if you're just tuning in, we're now in conversation with Yap Kok Ching, Executive Chairman and CEO of Qian Hu. Well, Kok Ching, I do want to take some time to talk about your growth domestically, given how, as we talked about earlier, farming is a land-intensive business, particularly in land-scarce Singapore. Now, your land lease along Jalan Lekar and Choa Chu Kang was set to be expiring next year. So how can ornamental fish exporters like Qian Hu improve the efficiency of fish farming with technology to sort of better help you win bids for land and to further grow the business? Is there a ceiling as to how far you can grow domestically?
You're absolutely right that we actually need to move into high-tech farming in Singapore. Roughly about 10, 11 years ago, we actually invested in the first set of RAS system. Actually, that reduces manpower from, we have about from 200 over tanks to increase to 1,000 over tanks.
Wow.
9 manpower reduced out to about 3. So we actually see the benefits of it. And then back then, we managed to extend our lease. Yeah, so it's definitely a way to go. Yeah, but we are not contented with the system that we have built 10 years ago. And then right now we are assessing systems. One particular system that we think is good, that is biosecure, zero discharge, and highly energy efficient, that we are actually assessing now. So we have about 12 sets of them in the farm, trying to work out if there would be a good solutions going forward, and then we can replace the earthen pond, which is not very not efficient, into indoor biosecure solutions.
Yeah. Now, from supply, I'd like to take a look at demand, right? How would you assess the global demand for ornamental fish exports and also demand for your ornamental fish at Qian Hu? Does it make sense for you to increase the capacity of ornamental fish farming given the price point of ornamental fish, the volume demanded by customers versus the amount of time you need to breed it, the amount of land you need to use? How far can you also farm ornamental fish abroad then?
Actually, the global demand for ornamental fish is expected to grow at 6% CAGR for the next decade. Even though Singapore is dropping, but Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia, our neighboring countries are actually increasing, and then the demand for China, the Middle East, and India, and things like that, they are growing. So market overall is expected to grow. So there isn't any consideration whether do we farm in Singapore or not. I mean, we are farming in Singapore actually to build our resilience in terms of supply, because more farms in Singapore is being, vacated because of the land use for food production and also for, in the Lim Chu Kang area. So we're getting less and less supply. So without the fish, we are not able to export. So for us, we are using technology to increase the supply and then to make sure that we have the supply for exports. We have expanded 2 farms in Malaysia. One is aquaculture farm. The other one is ornamental fish farm. We have also worked with 4 to 5 contract farmers in Malaysia. Yeah, we are building supply chain in Thailand as well, and China, Indonesia. Those are the initiatives that have been taken to make sure that we do have the good supply source to cater for the growth in the next 10 years.
Would you think that it is more and more competitive to breed fish, ornamental fish, in particular in Singapore, given how you mentioned earlier that Indonesia has become, even one of the top exporters? I think you mentioned number 1 spot when it comes to exporting fish. Does it depress your price point? Does it make it harder for you to breed your fish from Singapore?
I think it's inevitable that more and more of our advantages at Singapore as an import-export hub. So we do have very efficient systems and air hub. And, we cannot control the cost of Indonesia and Malaysia and Thailand. They are definitely cheaper. So we can only base on the efficiency improvement in Singapore and cater to different smaller customers base. So for us, we are offering our products from all these countries so customer can choose where they want to buy from.
Okay, I think a question that we missed out earlier, right? You talked about customers.
Yeah.
Are we looking at big importers of ornamental fish from other major countries where they further export it elsewhere? Are we looking at individual retail customers, like people that go to your Qian Hu Fish Farm to say, I want to buy 1 or 2 ornamental fish?
We deal with importers, big distributors, and transshippers mainly.
Okay. And moving on, let's talk about something more interesting as well. Qian Hu's doubling down of efforts on growing its aquaculture business. Now, in 2024, Qian Hu expanded its aquaculture footprint in the region by incorporating this 70% owned subsidiary to focus on farming and distributing of aquaculture products in Malaysia. On top of that, it is also looking to farm more marbled goby in Malaysia and Thailand to cater to the growing banquet and restaurant sectors. Why is Qian Hu so focused on aquaculture right now?
So actually the aquaculture and pet accessories business came out after the review in 2016 where we did a group strategy review and identified that aquaculture and pet accessories are the 2 areas that we should focus on to grow. Part of the reasons are there's a synergy between the ornamental fish farming and also, this share expertise in the breeding, the water quality and disease control. So since we are scaling down our arowana, and then we have to find another pillar of growth.
Yeah.
And second thing, I think it's also the strong market demand for the sustainable antibiotic seafood. Yeah, and it is globally, I think, many areas, in the areas that we are operating in and the stronghold of Asia, I think the demand will be particularly strong for marble goby.
Antibiotic-free.
Yes,
Okay.
and why marble goby? Marble goby, another name in Chinese is sun hawk. So I think it's better known as sun hawk. Well, it is a very nice fish to eat. And then with technology, a hybrid version came out and it can grow faster. So when the usual one needs about 2.5 years, now we need maybe about 1.5 years. So it cuts short on the timing. And also we know that there are technology available in the market now that we can tap on to actually help us to improve on the efficiency, improve on the survival rate, improve on the control and monitoring. So that are some of the reasons. And after we thought about expansion into aquaculture back in 2017, then thereafter, the opportunity comes where Singapore try to be self-sufficient in the 30 by 30 goal.
Yes.
And so we develop towards this direction. So we identify Vename is one of the species that can be grown in Singapore.
Vename shrimp.
Yeah, Vename shrimp. Yeah, so we try intensive shrimp farming and we are able to get like 9 to 10 kg per meter square, which is quite high in industry standards. And we have the opportunity to work with Bosch AquaEasy on IoT that uses sound to detect the activities of the stream and automatic feeding systems based on AI. Yeah, so those are the very interesting things that we know that aquaculture can offer.
Just to give our audience a sense of how worth it is, right, to look into aquaculture, that sun hawk fish that you mentioned, right, when you sell it to banquet operators, how much does that fish that we actually eat cost? The one that's put on with the soybean paste, right, and steamed.
Yes. Well, the fish will cost, the wholesale price is around 40 something per kg. So it makes a lot of sense for us. Yeah.
Okay. Now, you talked about pet accessories, right? With rising pet ownership, that's identified as a key growth pillar for Qian Hu. And I know we are not only looking at aquariums for fish, but you're also looking at cat food. Tell us a bit more about that. And how much of Qian Hu's business do you think can be contributed by pet accessories in the longer term?
The pet industry is actually booming and we are expanding into the high growth segment like the dog and cats products. And we are tapping into the rising pet ownership trends globally.
Yeah,
and then we know that we have to address increasing concern about hygiene and pet health. And that's why we are collaborating with the tech company like N&E Innovations who develop biodegradable fruit-based antimicrobial agents. And so we incorporate that into our products and to address that concern. We will be also looking into expanding our ASEAN distribution since we have subsidiaries all over the ASEAN area. So these are the way that we will be growing our pet accessories business.
All in, because I know you grouped pet accessories with aquaculture together, right? How has the firm's strategic expansion into aquaculture and pet accessories helped it position for future growth over the past 8 years or so? And do you expect aquaculture and pet accessories to eventually become the bread and butter of Qian Hu in the next 10 years?
Well, aquaculture is expected to be a major revenue driver. Reason being, the demand for sustainable seafood will continue to grow. And we do see the high potential in Southeast Asia and China. Of course, I have mentioned earlier, the ecosystem for the aquaculture trade is actually bigger than ornamental fish.
And as we begin to wrap up the conversation, right, Kok Ching, this is perhaps a more personal question. Because Qian Hu had in October last year announced the retirement of its then executive chairman, Kenny Yap. I understand your uncle. You have assumed his post since. And in a report by our colleagues from the Business Times, Kenny had once vowed to bring the company's revenue past the 100 million Sing dollar mark. Coming to you, we are now at about 70 million or so Sing dollars. What are your goals for the firm? Is it still 100 million Sing dollars? what are your top 3 priorities to position Qian Hu for future growth?
Well, taking over from Kenny is a privilege. Yeah, and he always aimed to surpass 100 million in revenue. And I actually share that ambition. So my whole team actually is working hard towards that ambition. So we have the top 3. Our top 3 priorities now is to strengthen our global branding, position Qian Hu as the world leader in pets and aquaculture business. Second is to expand our aquaculture and pet segment to drive new revenue stream. And third one will be leveraging on the technology to enhance our efficiency across fish farming, pet products, and packaging solutions. So these are the top 3 priorities that we will be focusing on.
Have you ever thought about what will be next after 100 million?
We do have plans to grow the business, and of course for us as a businessman, we want to run a profitable business.
Yeah.
So growing revenue is just a top line, but what's important for us now is actually the bottom line. So we want to grow in tandem and to have a healthy margin. So for now, we are having about 32% type of GP, and it is healthy. And the way we are developing into the premium pet products and the aquaculture products, it should be able to enhance the margins further. But of course, some of the pet products are lower margin. So I think it will be balanced out. So I think for the first aim, we have to implement in stages, try to grow our distribution network. Hopefully we can reach 100 million. At the same time, with a good bottom line.
Okay. And before I let you go, Kok Cheng, keep us excited. What are some future plans for Qian Hu for the rest of this year and into the next? What can we expect or what can we look forward to right here in Singapore?
Well, 2025 will be the year of expansion and innovations. And so we are launching antimicrobial pets and plastics products in ASEAN and beyond. And we will be scaling up our operations, our aquaculture operations in Malaysia and Thailand. We will strengthen our e-commerce and digital pet accessories distribution. So for Singapore, we can look forward to a more sustainable, high-quality pets and fish care solutions from Qian Hu, and also good and affordable seafood.
Good and affordable seafood. You're getting me hungry at this point. Thanks so much for the insights, Kok Cheng. That was Yap Kok Cheng, Executive Chairman and Chief Executive Officer at Qian Hu. Thank you so much for joining us on Money FM 89.3.
Thank you.
Before acting on the information on Money FM, please consider if it's suitable for your own investment objectives, financial situation, and risk tolerance. To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.